Welcome to the Lead with Your Soul podcast. I'm Michelle Wright, your host and fellow traveler on this journey of self-discovery. This podcast is designed for women navigating life transitions and yearning to embrace their true selves. I'll be sharing my personal journey from navigating the complexities of divorce and blending families to reshaping my career to something that resonates with my soul. With 3 decades as a teacher and mentor, I'm here to share insights, heartfelt stories, and practical strategies. Together, we'll explore how to cultivate self-love and create the vibrant, fulfilling life you deserve. Join me each week as we dive deep into the art of living authentically. Welcome to the Lead with Your Soul podcast. I'm Michelle Wright, your host, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm coming to you from the beautiful shores of Mexico. I can hear the ocean just lapping against the beautiful beach below us. And it's such a special place. Today, I wanted to talk about messages from spirit. There's different ways that you get messages from your spirit team. And for me, spirit team means my angels, it means the divine, the universe. It means my ancestors. And I mean those long, linear ancestors going back. It also means the more recent loved ones in spirit, the ones I have this deep heart connection to in my life. And I find that as I try to live in alignment, as I try to live a life that is connected to my highest purpose, connected to the compass of my own soul, I look for messages in spirit. And sometimes I'm actively asking for them and saying, I have a decision to make. Can you help me with this? And sometimes I'm surprised just as they come. And then when I look backwards, I see how they've been there all along. And one of the ways is actually where we are right now in this beautiful condo just on this beach near Puerto Vallarta. And we had come here for 7 years. This is our 7th. And we always were in the same place, the same condo. And we just were kind of going, you know what? Last year when we were here, it was time for a shift. It was time for a change. And so we started connecting and exploring, and we connected with this other beautiful couple, and we connected to this condo. And as we came, we recognized that the condo we would have been in has actually been sold and would not have been available, sold to another person. And for me, once again, that's just that pathway. We knew we wanted to be here. And we didn't even know last year, as we were wondering, as we were being curious, as we were making different connections and inquiries, that it meant the difference of coming to this beach or not. And I'm just so pleased and just so thankful. When I got here and I realized that we would have never been back to that place, and we would have been so surprised as we tried to book it. And then what would we do? That I just felt deep gratitude. I felt such an affirmation and recognizing that this is one small way in my life that my spirit team sends me nudges, puts me down the path, sends me along a road that in the end is going to be aligned with what I'm trying to create in my life. And for my husband and I, what we're trying to create are these spaces that we can go to and live our lives. We are wonderfully retired. It's been a year now at the end of November that we will have sold the business, and we're looking at developing these other passions. And the passion for me is creating my business and having this ability to support and serve women who are going through their own life transitions. And I do this by doing my sacred soul sessions, my card readings, that sacred conversation between my spirit team, my client's spirit team, and the intuition and channeling that's coming in for both of us. I use all of my varied life experience in transitions, from divorce, from big career shifts. And some of those ones like empty nesting and blending that help me just give that information and help find a pathway forward for those clients. I also love connecting clients to their own astrology and seeing how their natal chart was already present on the date they were born and how it aligns with some of the aspects of themselves and how they navigate the world. And I've seen huge ahas, and I call that my soul blueprint. And the same goes with human design. Human design is another spiritual modality where people look at their types, at their energy types. They look at their authority, how they make decisions, and they see themselves through that lens. All of this is about recognizing and remembering who you are. And this remembrance happens and allows you to really hone in on your own inner compass and your own guide and your own messages from spirit. And when you get there and you start seeing them, you just have these huge ahas. You have these huge moments of deep gratitude that you're not alone on this journey. You get even a deeper connection that there's purpose in what happens. There's purpose in my choosing. And even when things are not perfect, because going down a spiritual road does not mean that now you don't have any challenges. It does not mean that you are without difficulty and without times of shadow and without times where you need to heal and release. In fact, I think you're more aware of it and you just continue. You just peel away that onion layer by layer and recognizing that you have so many ways that you can connect to this highest version of yourself. And the spirit messages help me with that. So coming here is an example of that. Another smaller example is just a hike we took on the Boca Trail, which is this 8-kilometer hike, actually 9 by the time you get back to the water taxi. And it's up and over different beaches, and it's hard to know exactly where the trail is at times, because when you go through some of the beaches or little villages, it's going behind buildings, and they do have markers. They do have these white and green markers. But some of the time when you're outside of the villages and you're just on a trail, you don't know when you come to that fork in the trail which way you're supposed to go. Should I go this way? Should I go that way? And you haven't had the green marker yet. And so, at 31 degrees Celsius, high humidity, you're not looking for increasing your steps. You're trying to find the quickest way, and isn't that like light? The quickest way to your goal as possible. And on our trip, we ended up having this beautiful little animal spirit guide. And we called him Margarita, Margie for short. And this little dog just joined us when we were in the middle of the forest and not sure which way to go. And this dog obviously knew the path because would go down the path when we were at a Y and look back at us, kind of looking at us saying, don't you know, this is the path? And sure enough, we'd go and there was the path and there was that green flag telling us, yep, you're the right way. And so we started trusting Margie as we went along. We started following and saying, okay, which way now? How do we go? And in that moment, that recognition that you have this beautiful little dog that's with you, And when we would stop to take water, stop to take a break, this beautiful dog would just sit at our feet and just say, yeah, I'm with you. I'm waiting. And just that sense of alignment, that sense of connection, that sense of being part of this larger cosmos just made me smile, made me happy, made me know that I was safe. And I continue to have moments like that in my life because I can trust spirit as I move forward. So every time I post, every time I do a podcast in the beginning, this is number 34, but in the beginning, I was terrified each time I started speaking. I was terrified about what I would say, how I would say it. And I didn't even know how to put it out. And so in this instant, I would use my cards and I would pull cards and just say, tell me what it is. Tell me how this is going to be received. Tell me what I need to know. And these messages that I would be getting from spirit were encouraging. And they were saying, this is your pathway. This is what you need to do. You need to speak. You need to share your stories. And there's a deep knowing that comes in that's saying, there are women out there that need this hope, this encouragement, that need to start to be curious and explore their own spiritual path and what it means for them, and open up different avenues to their highest potential. So that deep sense of knowing and these encouragement came with the cards. Which makes me think about you. How are you connected to different messages in spirit? There's lots of different books that you can read out there. There's lots of different podcasts. I did read a book from Colette Baron Reed, and she goes through and she talks about it. And messages from spirit for me can be so many things. It started out, even before I started this spiritual path, I started recognizing that I would hear things 3 times. Someone would say the exact same thing 3 different times, and sometimes out of context or in context. And I recognized that was something for me to pay attention to. Either I needed to adjust, I needed to change, I needed to make a movement based on that information or that thought that was coming in. And it could be as simple as I needed to go light this candle, and 3 different people had mentioned it in different ways, and I needed to go do that. And again and again and again it was reinforced. Whenever I didn't listen to it, I recognized that had I listened to that message, life would have been easier for me, or the situation would have been easier. So that message, I'm like, okay, I'm seeing messages. And I didn't realize until later that these messages could come through cards, could come through thoughts in your head. So now for me, I see them everywhere. I see them in the animals that come to me. I see them in the clouds. I see them in the rocks. I see them in the butterflies. I see them everywhere. And it is connected to what I'm thinking about. It's connecting to what I'm asking about. So sometimes if I am just walking to go get my groceries and I'm actually not in that contemplative place, when I see a deer, it might just be a deer. When I see a bird, it might just be a bird. That's exactly what it is. It's just something on my path. But when I'm going more on a meditative, when I'm going and I'm having these conversations with spirit, and for me, especially at home, I do that a lot when I'm walking. And I'm curious, what are the messages that are coming in? And I'm having that conversation because I'm asking. And I'll get different animals coming in. So sometimes I know it's a message because it's a different animal than I usually see. Or it might be a deer, but the deer is right in my path where I've never seen one before, staring stock still looking at me. And I'm like, okay, this message is, this is here looking at me in this different space to say, I'm a message for you. Be curious. What does it mean? Now, in the beginning, I would actually just go back and Google and say, spiritual meaning of, or I would look in my cards, right? Because I have animal spirit deck. Okay, what are they saying? And then as I continued to develop my own intuition and I developed listening to my own soul, my own inner compass, I would then say to myself, what does this feel like? What is this message telling me in the context of this moment, this time, this thinking? And find some of those answers. I still look up the spiritual meaning. I go back and I find depths of layers, depths of complexity. And now I even get images that will come. So when I'm asking and meditating in the morning, my messages can come through different images, different thoughts, different feelings even. So clairsentient, clairvoyance, cognizant, knowing. And all of a sudden, all of these come together and I know what this message is about and what it's trying to tell me. Now, specifically for me, and you have to check for yourself. I find when I am in the middle of difficult times in my life, there are lots of very clear messages, but I have a hard time listening to them. My mind is swirling, and usually I am not lending myself to listening. So I'm not looking for signs. And that's usually when my spirit team will step it up a notch and maybe they'll find different ways to come in and interrupt me and get me to listen. And I recognize then I need to set in place specific times each day to connect. So even if I'm having good days or bad days, I need to have quiet time where I connect with spirit, where I just listen and I just feel and I just try and understand the messages that are coming in. And most time it's not this, are you going to change your career? Most times, you know what it is? We love you. You are this beautiful human spirit that we love. Did you feel our love today? Did you recognize this deep sense of love and purpose that is present? And at first I was like, what? That doesn't make sense because I'm a human doing. I am becoming, I'm doing whatever I need to be the best version of myself. I am getting to my highest potential. I am moving along. And that's when spirit just sends messages of love, because the truth of it is, I need to love every moment of this life, the difficulty, the bliss, the journey, getting to highest potential. And also just love my essence and my being. That's one of the deepest journeys that we take in this lifetime, is loving ourselves completely, wholly, and knowing who we are and who we're meant to be. That sometimes, even when I talk to my clients, brings them to the deepest tears. Because this idea that the spirit messages that we're getting are to help us get closer to the inner aspect of ourselves, to put our hand on our hearts and love ourselves, to connect to our energy and love our energy exactly as we are, exactly as the stars created us, exactly as we chose to come down. We need to love this version of ourselves because this deep love allows us to connect more easily and fully to any other messages that are coming. And it allows us to be in awe of how far we've come. It allows us to be in awe in the connection you can have with spirit. So then you can be in awe when a little white dog is on your path, walking the Boca Trail, and you laugh, and you just say, "You're just so beautiful, spirit. Thank you." And even with that dog, do you know what? I then started getting worried about this dog. What happens if this dog doesn't have a home? And then we have to take care of this dog, and we can't take care of this dog, right? And I just said, Spirit, please, when we get where we're going, allow this dog to be in a good place. And you know what? When we got to the place we were going, our dog was gone. It was no longer with us. It had found either another group of people that it needed to lead, or it found its home. And I just said, thank you. Thank you. So I worry about this dog sending love. And yet, once again, the world of spirit was taking care of it. So for yourself, where are you on in your journey? Where are you with looking for messages for spirit? Do you see them in songs? I don't, because I don't listen to a lot of lyrics, but my kids do. And they will send me messages that they get through their songs. And they're like, Mom, I can't believe it. I was asking this, and this is a song that kept on coming. You can get your messages from the clouds. I wanted this feather so bad. And this connection with spirit saying, I just need this feather. Really? Do I need a feather? No. So there is this dialogue with spirit when we as humans are in this, I need this, prove it to me kind of thing. And I was in that zone. Do you know what spirit did? Spirit put a cloud in the shape of a feather. And I just laughed and said, look at the sense of humor. I had a feather as big as you can imagine sitting in the sky for me. And it was a message. I hear you. I'm with you. But you, my dear sweet child, cannot control everything. My learning in this lifetime is about surrendering, leaning into trust, and following these messages of spirit, not as I want them, but as they come to me. And that truly does happen in many different ways. There was another decision that I needed to make. And I was actually looking for a very specific, I think, shell. It was actually a sand dollar along the shores of PEI. And I was making a decision within my career. And that trip, I was talking to spirits really hard. I don't know what to do. What does this look like? And I didn't find a sand dollar. And so does this mean that I shouldn't go through and do it? And then I also thought, well, I also can't change that sand dollars may or may not be on this beach because that's not where they live or the shelf that they're on, which is what also happens. So I said, I asked for a sand dollar, but really what it's a round circle. This is what I'm looking for. I recognize that, and it's in that looks like sand. And PEI is all red, as you know, and where we were walking along this part of the ocean was rocks, red rocks. And there, very distinctly, was a white dot the size of a sand dollar. And it was exactly what I had been looking for. And this is where people can actually, and skeptics, and even myself, have said the same question. Is it really a message, or is it something that you made into a message? And that's the difference of following your compass, listening to your intuition, listening to your soul. We didn't know that getting this condo was going to be started by inquiring and asking to change where we were. But you start to follow these feelings, follow the thinking, the threads of them. And I say it's a thread because it really is a thread that you kind of follow and you recognize, I have an urge, I have a desire that's coming up. And I wonder how it's going to unfold in my life. And so you just start asking questions. And as you find with those questions, those inquiries, more things open up. And so for us, that meant that we met this person, and this person was then showing us this condo and that condo and saying, this is what we're looking at. And we're like, yeah, this is actually a really good fit for us. So we said yes. Now, that could have happened anyway. And yet, for me, I'm recognizing that thread that I feel is when I'm following my compass, when I'm following my way to my highest version of self. So you have to figure it out for yourself when you have these questions, when you have these conversations with your spirit team. What does it feel like for you? Some people have where they talk about a touch on their body. They know, a touch on the hand, a touch on the shoulder. They know this is what it feels like. One thing I can say with 100% certainty is that the messages are never filled with anger, any kind of hate, or those negative, anxious emotions. All of my conversation with spirit feel full of love, hope, gratitude, thankfulness, and they're about connecting to something bigger than I am. And often connecting to the larger collective. So it's my spirit connecting with the larger collective, whether that's in the human, that's in the earth, and that's taking care of this earth, or the other humans around me. So I did start to recognize that whenever I had doubts and fears and anxieties, that was actually my own ego, my own nervous system. That was not my spirit team. And so you start to feel that. So what am I talking about? It's talking about practice. This comes with practice. Another analogy is tuning in, really with the radio. You kind of tune in. Where for you is it? Because for everybody, it's completely different. As I said, some people feel it on their body. Some people have a tingling somewhere on their body. Some people have different words or different pictures that come in that they know that's what it is. For me also, I started having a ringing in my ears. And the ringing in my ears was a very specific way that it's not tinnitus. I would be curious what was being said, what was happening, what was going on. And sometimes actually nothing was going on, nothing was happening. And that's when I started recognizing that's that love, that's that feeling of we're with you. That's that feeling of everything is going along. You're doing a great job. We're just cheering you on. Or we're here just, on this race of life, if we see it as a race or this journey of life. They're on the sidelines cheering, going, you're doing it, girl. And I just took those and just with deep gratitude. Some people see angel numbers, 111, 333, 222, repeating numbers or the same numbers again and again. And so it's for you to connect with your spirit team, ask for the messages. You can definitely ask. And then you can be curious how they're communicating with you. If you listen to lots of music, you're probably going to get more information to music. I don't listen to lyrics. The music I listen to is more instrumental. So my spirit team will not be communicating to me through lyrics because I don't see them. I don't listen to them. And It's important to develop this channel before you need to. And what I mean is that when you're in anxiety and fear and worry in the deep, darkest parts of transition, your nervous system is going haywire. And in order to trust the messages that you're getting, you have to have this relationship built with your spirit team and the way that they send you messages. That's an important thing. Like any relationship we have in human, we just know. I know with my husband, I hold onto his hand and I just resonate and feel such peace. We just are in each other's presence and I feel calm, I feel better, I feel more whole, I feel happier. And it's the same when I connect with my spirit team. I have those same feelings because we've developed that relationship. We've developed the communication style. We've developed just a way of loving each other. I know I have so far to go. I am just a baby on my steps. And I've worked at this. And for me, that's important to share because I think some people come in naturally with these abilities. Like some people can naturally run races or naturally sing or naturally act or naturally do better in math. I naturally have been curious about the divine. And I have built and allowed myself to be open to building these connections, developing my clairs and these muscles per se of how I connect with spirit. And so can you. We all have it. Every single one of us has access to this. Every single one of us has access to our soul, to our heart, to our own energies. And so do you. I'd love to hear from you how you're connecting to spirit. Send me a message at leadwithyoursoulpodcast@gmail.com or go on my Instagram at michellewright.co. I'd love to connect with you. If you would like me to work with you more directly in a one-on-one, we can have a reading. We can work in mentorship. I can help you. This is my joy, this is my bliss, and this is my way to serve. Keep looking for those messages from spirit. And until next time, keep listening to your soul. That wraps up another episode of the Lead with Your Soul podcast. I'm so grateful you chose to spend this time with me. As you navigate your own life transitions, remember to be gentle with yourself and embrace the journey. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe and share it with others who might benefit. Join me next week for more insights and inspiration. Until next time, keep leading with your soul.